We were recording.
I'd like to call to order the November 28th, 2023 Columbia Borough Council meeting. Could I have a roll call, please?
Council President Zink.
Here.
Councilperson Kaufman.
Here.
Councilperson Stahl.
Here.
Councilperson Fisher.
Here.
Councilperson Price. Councilperson Lintner.
Here.
Councilperson Verhaarden.
Here.
Mayor Lopez.
Here.
All right. Would anybody like to offer an invocation? All right. If you'd like.
Madam President, if you have a minute,
Yes.
we'll do the invitation. Understand? While you have a moment of silence, I ask you to keep in your prayers and in your mind a Columbia icon that passed away last week, Shirley McBride. And Shirley was very active politically. For years, she was a councilwoman. And even after she stopped being a councilwoman, Shirley continued to stay up to date and work on issues, whether they be local, state, and national. One thing about Shirley is Shirley always had the courage to speak up and tell you when something wasn't right or something needed to be changed or done. And I respected Shirley an awful lot for that. Truthfully, I was totally shocked when I read Shirley's obituary of all the things that Shirley was involved in that I really wasn't aware of. She was a very busy person, both with her church and outside of church. So, you know, it's sad to see people like that go. I wish some people would take up what Shirley has done with her life and become involved in their community like Shirley was involved in the community. But please remember Shirley in your prayers. And her funeral, I think, is Thursday up at Calvary Church in Mount Joy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm joking where we're at. So, Mayor, why don't you lead us in a pledge?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Announcement of executive and information sessions. There were none. Are there any additions, deletions, or reorganization of the agenda needed? I'm not aware of any. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as published?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the agenda as published. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Citizen comment, non-agenda items only. I don't have a sign-up sheet, but that's okay. Is there anyone that would like to address council on the non-agenda?
Mr. Lintner was on the sheet.
Okay. Yep.
Joe Lintner, 500 Chestnut Street. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what's happening with the posting of the agendas. I've noticed that in November, 2 agendas were not posted in a timely manner as prescribed by the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act, one of which was the HARB agenda for November 8th, was posted only 2 hours before the meeting began and only at the urging of Sharon because I asked her about it. So there's one possible violation of the Sunshine Act. The other possible violation is for the Planning Commission meeting, November 21st. There was no agenda posted. It's still not posted. And I know some people were upset that they didn't know that the meeting was happening and what was on the agenda. So there's another possible violation of the Sunshine Act. I've referred this to the Lancaster County DA, so you'll probably hear from them. But I just noticed tonight that there's another agenda that's not posted. There's one that's missing for the zoning hearing board tomorrow night. So I don't know what's happening. There's 3 possible violations of the Sunshine Act.
That meeting was canceled.
Was it?
Where was the cancellation posted? I didn't see that it was canceled. The only thing I,
There is no meeting, there's no agenda, that's why I don't know.
Okay, but there was no posting of the cancellation.
I'll check that.
The applicant withdrew the application.
That's basically all I have. So there's two in a row. A few months ago, council talked about increasing communication, transparency. You seem to be going in the opposite direction. Thank you.
next item we have Frank Daltrey.
Evening, folks. I had a bunch of things at last week's meeting, but I looked at the agenda and it was pretty full, and I thought, well, give you a break, so, but I have one or two of them things here tonight. First of all, I want to say rest in peace, Shirley McBride. And I'll echo some of Leo's stuff. She's just a good person. I'll just let it go at that. One of my questions is, what's going on up on Chestnut Street between 5th and 6th? What's taking place now?
Can I have more information on that? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Beg your pardon?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
The construction part, where are we at with the construction up? What's going on with it?
That's
Oh,
not us. That's the water company.
that's utility work. I don't,
Well, you just have to know what's going on.
Frank, I don't keep track of every little detail. I promise you, the
Right,
people
you-
in our office do, so I can look into it and get back to you.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that,
Yeah, if Jake was here, he'd
He's
know.
not
He
here.
probably had a road opening permit for something.
the thing I just want to put out, I hammered Lancaster Avenue so bad, and it was so bad, but I use Chestnut Street a lot, and I come down Chestnut Street 2 weeks ago, 6 miles an hour. Now, somebody is not doing these streets right. I hate to think what's under some of that rubble and blacktop and things like that. I hate to even think about that.
They replaced the water line, and they're waiting until the spring to actually redo and resurface the whole street.
Can't they do it any better than that? Now, I
I
understand,
agree with you.
I understand if they put iron plates down, now that's noisy, so that's not as good. A follow-up question that I asked to one of the other meetings. How much is left in the reserve? Nobody could answer it at that meeting. We have laptops for all this information, yet nobody could answer that question for me.
It's not about having the equipment, Frank. Only certain people have access to it. And Tammy, do you know what the current balance is? We can look it up.
I don't have that, I did not know that, I was not here for that meeting, so I'll make sure you get that.
We balance, a lot of times we balance the budget out of the reserve, right?
Correct. But we have not moved any money from the reserve this year. We've not moved money since I've been here from reserve.
But we have,
Yeah, I'm sure you have in the past, but not
Yes.
since I've been here, no.
yeah, I'm just trying to find out how much we have in case.
It's actually always shown in the audit report, but I will get that information for you. I don't have it right at my fingertips right now, but I will get it for you.
Okay. Maybe we'll get it sometime.
Got it.
Now, I'm not picking on the borough manager, but the borough manager is allowed to spend so much money. Is it $10,000 in emergencies?
It's up to $10,000 for a single purchase. So in emergencies, can we spend that? Yes. In non-emergencies, yes. But I can tell you that our general policy is if something is not budgeted or not in a line item somewhere, we come to council for it. If it's not already budgeted for, if it is budgeted for, no, we don't come to council every time because it's already a budgeted item.
Do we have a line item for that?
For what?
For that item that you're allowed to spend that amount of money?
Which item is it you're asking about?
The $10,000?
For what?
Whatever you want to spend, whatever.
It's not a blank
It's not a blank
What I
check,
want to know,
Frank. If we had a line item for new lights here in Borough Council and it cost $9,800, I would go out and get that because it's a line item in the budget for that specific project. We don't just have a line item that says 10,000 borough manager and spend it willy-nilly, no. If it's in the budget as an item that we planned on, then yes, we'll get it. And council sees it when we do the bills. If it's an unbudgeted item, if it's a new thing, then we usually come to council and say, hey, listen, here's what we're looking at.
Yeah, I'm just trying to decipher when you're supposed to disclose that and why you're supposed to use that. If paying for them lights is not an emergency, it just makes me think that. Okay. And I'm not accusing you of anything, I'm trying to get
But
somebody.
I can tell you, my own personal value is that we will be as transparent as we can be. There's nothing to hide. If we need to go out and buy some office supplies, and they cost a few $1,000s, and there's a line item that says office supplies, and we have $15,000 in it, I'm not gonna come to council and say, can I buy 10 reams of paper and 2 packs of pens? No, those are already approved line items, and that fits within that budget line item. If there's something that's completely unbudgeted, I know the Aisha came up with the PA system at the Market House. That was under supplies for the Market House, is where we put that, is it's operating supplies for the Market House. We had the money in that budget line item, it was less than $10,000, so we authorized Chris to get that system. It wasn't a suddenly out of the blue purchase, it fit within a line item of an approved budget. Does that make sense? So yeah, anything that wasn't accounted for, or anticipated, or planned for would come back to council for approval.
Who all has credit cards? First of all, let me ask this question. Does the managers get their gas at the borough, or do they get it at the pumps?
Absolutely not.
For personal vehicles or work
No.
vehicles?
They drive vehicles, borough vehicles.
The borough, if it's a borough vehicle, we have gas tanks down at the Public Works building,
Oh, they
both
do?
diesel and gas. The work vehicles are filled up down there.
So they need no credit card then?
No, they can fill up the gas down there.
Okay.
Wilson has a credit card to buy supplies for the buildings. If he needs a
Okay.
box of nails or something, he has a credit card and go down to Fricky's and get it. Jake has a credit card. If he needs to go get supplies and stuff, I do.
And you got one?
Jack Slummer has one if he needs to make purchases.
Three.
But then all those things come in on a credit card statement that is approved and is put in the packets for the council to see.
Every council meeting, we have that
Yeah.
every month.
And we have a spending policy on what you can and can't use your credit cards for.
Yeah, so that's documented in the
Absolutely, yeah.
thing. Okay. Again, the manager's not here from the Market House, but I attended that Saturday and Sunday, and I'm trying to find out on Sunday how that was set up. Was that done by the Columbia?
No, that was considered a private event put on by the Shank Shop.
Okay, so how much did we make or lose or whatever?
I don't know how much they pay in rent.
There was a lease, they leased the
They
Market
leased the
House
Market
for that
House.
day at so much an hour, like anyone else would. If you had a birthday party or whatever else, there's an hourly rate to rent the Market House.
You don't know what it is though.
I don't know off the top of my head, I think it's $100 an hour.
I think it's
Don't quote me on that.
$100, yeah.
I'm just wondering that, I seen a lot of stands full that was never full, and I was just, and I knew it had something to do with Shank. I have no idea, through none of it, but everything was filled up. My Amish, they were gone, I didn't get to talk to them.
So yes, it's Sunday.
Yeah, and that, but they have one stand, that whole corner. These people had 4 stands in there rented, and I was wondering if they were making money at our benefit. And, you know, if we're getting what we should be getting out of that Market House, that's what I'm wondering. Normally, when do the stand holders pay?
Monthly.
Monthly?
Yeah.
End of the month, beginning of the month?
Beginning of the
They're
month.
billed at the beginning of the month and they're due within so many days of getting their invoice, and they all know it.
Is there any that's behind?
Right now, I don't know. We had some in the past, but I think we try to get them all to catch up.
Yeah, I knew we had it in the past.
Frank, I just wanted to hear that I did not turn my timer on tonight, and you were well past 5 minutes, and I have not seen a word, so.
Well, but I'd also, you know, too, if I see the agenda's full, I'm not gonna get up there and react to it. But, anyway, thank you.
All right, next sign up, Laura.
Oh, present. I'm already on the agenda.
Oh, you're on the agenda? Okay.
So I need to sign it or something.
Oh, no, that's okay. I'm
Pop
sorry.
them off.
And Paul and Cheryl Wendell, did you have comments to make?
We're just touching tonight.
Oh, okay. Cross that out. Minutes for approval. Can I have a motion to approve the Borough Council work session minutes for October 19th, 2023?
Second.
A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the Borough Council work session minutes, budget work session minutes for October 19th, 2023. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to approve the Borough Council work session minutes from November 9th, 2023?
Second.
A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the Borough Council work session minutes for November 9th, 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? And could I have a motion to approve the Borough Council regular meeting minutes for November 14th, 2023? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the Borough Council regular meeting minutes for November 14th, 2023. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Presentation and acceptance of reports. I would like to acknowledge the receipt of the finance reports for October 2023. Both the revenues and expenses are trending, they're pretty much right on where we budgeted them to be for the end of October. Did anyone have any questions or comments or concerns on those?
I had one for, maybe Tammy can answer this. The ordinance violations on page 1, 013311115, I think it is. Is that a combination of all the code violations, or is it like notice violations or quick tickets? What?
That's just the codes that's just the violations that go to the district justice office.
Okay, I think
Because
it's
they
a
haven't
DJ
been-
there.
like,
Yeah,
somewhere.
It's things that haven't been paid and
Okay.
go there and
So they could be old ones.
Okay.
So we'll get a report and it has the police and the codes mixed together, so then we just started separating that out.
Okay, yeah, I saw the police was above that.
Yep, we
It's
just
quite a
started
bit
separating
higher.
that out.
Okay.
Yep.
they could be old, they could be recent, they could be the $500 ones, they could be quick tickets,
Okay.
they could be pretty much anything.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns on the finance reports? All right, and legislation. Councilperson Linder.
Yeah, I didn't have questions on it, I don't think, except for the handicap parking one. Said approved for advertising. Are we a little further along than that? I thought we voted on October 10th about,
I may have missed something.
okay, that's the only thing I questioned on it. If anybody else have questions.
I did ask Mark to add, to make sure it's added for the November legislation report, put the review the HARB ordinance on there so we remember to put that on there. Any other questions on the legislation report? All right, presentations, we don't have any. Mayor Lutz.
You may have seen recently, I guess, yesterday or today in the news, that a suspect involved in the robbery out of Turkey Hill and 2 other convenience stores was picked up. They were able to, the 3 jurisdictions were able to pick them up based on camera footage that showed that they were using, the suspects used the same vehicle off Lee Roberts, so that was a good one there. On a nicer note, I want to thank the Columbia merchants and everyone that was involved in the Small Business Saturday and the lighting of the tree, the borough for the decorations. Sunday night I had my mother up for dinner, and she hadn't seen the tree and decorations that took her downtown, and she was really pleased to see what we had. I think the borough looks nice. I think it's a credit to those who work so hard. I was here Saturday morning over in the Market House. It was packed. Downtown was packed. I gotta say, Kelly and Joanne, you blew my mind with your picture with the Grinch. Great pictures. So I think everybody was having fun. So I think it worked out very well. And hats off to everybody that was involved in it. I knew it wasn't an easy thing to pull off, and neither was the putting up all those decorations. So I think the people in Columbia and the visitors coming into Columbia here during the holiday season really want to appreciate it. Columbia looks good. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, action items. First item we have is a HARB certificate of appropriateness. Do I have a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness for 144 Locust Street for the front porch and railing material changes as identified in the application?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl to approve the certificate of appropriateness for 144 Locust Street. The front porch roof and railing material changes as identified in the application. Does council have any questions, comments, or concerns on this?
I have comments and concerns, actually. I was at the HARB meeting, and first I want to make it clear that the HARB vote was not unanimous. It was 3-2. Yes. I understand, I guess, the contributing factors of the property that we're talking about, contributing, non-contributing. But I think this kind of wire on a front porch in our downtown especially, but in our historic district, is inappropriate. That's my opinion. I do not think it's, I know that I live in the historic district, and if my neighbor did that, I would be pretty upset. It's fine, I believe, in the backyards for, restraining dogs and so forth, or containing them, I should say. I don't feel it's appropriate for the front porch. And I don't know how we're going to stop folks from starting work before they come to the borough for the HARB review. It's too hard to reel it back in after it's done. It gives me, as a property owner, no incentive to want to come to HARB. And I've been through the process, and I felt it was a very good learning experience at the time. And I didn't begrudge going to HARB. But I'm going to start begrudging it if this type of thing continues, where I can pick any material I want and simply begin the work and pay a fine later and be on my way. I just don't think that's fair. So, I think that's about all I have to say about it.
If I may, Madam President, I echo Sharon's concerns. I truly believe that had they came too hard prior to putting the railings up, or what is considered railing, it would have been denied. And Sharon, you said you don't know how to stop it. I believe that, and I don't know if this is how it works, but I believe that anybody wanting to do anything in the historic district that requires a permit should have to clear everything prior to the permit being issued. In other words, if they had permits to do other work, but they didn't come to HARB. If they would not have gotten the permits before they went to HARB, until they went to HARB, let's say, that would not have happened. So I think there's a bit of a loophole there that we've gotten into problems time and time again since the institution of the historic district. I truly think it should not be allowed. It should be taken down. I don't think it's appropriate. And I do believe that if there is a loophole there, that everything, HARB, planning, zoning, everything should be cleared prior to the issuing of a permit.
But how do we, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. So, in this case, it sounds like they came in for permits for interior work. How do we make them go to HARB for interior work? I mean, they probably knew they were going to do the front work, but there's no way for us to make them say they're doing front.
We trust the permit application when it comes in. If
Right.
they say they're doing internal renovations with electrical work, plumbing, etc., we don't go back out and double check. We don't double check when the permit comes in.
I
We
think
catch it during
that's-
inspections.
I think that's one that's really hard to solve.
Right.
Right,
I'm talking mainly exterior. If
right.
you're going to do anything exterior that requires a permit, you should have to clear everything, especially if you're in the historic district, prior to the issuing of that permit.
I
But
think
none of this would have required a permit, would it?
Yes.
Yeah, the railing work would have required permits and stuff
Okay.
on it. But like, you don't need a building permit to paint a structure. That doesn't require a permit. So it's that fine line of when it requires. But I think you're right, Mayor. That's a good spot to catch a percentage of them.
Yes.
And make sure that everything's in line and in place before all permits or stuff are
You know,
issued.
we've had instances, and major instances, we had a whole harbor board resign because of a conflict very similar to this, you know, and until you stop it, and if there is a gap or you know, a loophole in it, then it's imperative to you all to close that loophole so that we don't have this, and we don't have one group working for Columbia Boroughs volunteers like the harbor board doing something and then it being reversed. That's kind of a slack.
Well, I think the way the ordinance is written is that at the time of the permitting, that's when it's identified if they have to go to HARB, correct?
Correct.
So we are we are stopping that. It's the people that don't come for the permit at all.
Right, it still doesn't stop that. You're saying at the time of the permitting, but the permit should not be issued until after they have cleared.
Until after they, okay,
If it's a-
I see what you're saying.
The permit will be written until after you all voted
Okay.
on the HARB decision.
If it's an external renovation, if the permit is for internal, they did apply for a hard permit, but that was to replace the windows. That was the first thing they came in for. That's an administrative review. That doesn't go back to the board. That's an approved.
No, the railing was done after the windows.
After the windows.
But then at the time they came in for the windows.
Right.
Why couldn't they have been told that if you're doing exterior work, you're in the historic district?
They were told that.
Okay.
That's when we let them know, and that's when they came in, they did everything when they went to heart.
So,
That's what we did.
I agree, and I was at the meeting with Sharon. And I agree with Sharon, but yet the process went through the system and it was voted. Education's key. And
Yes.
Sharon brought up before about pamphlets for the Harbor District and notifying people. Even if it's an annual letter to the Harbor District saying, hey, don't forget, or, you know, these are the minimums or whatever. But secondly, to me, it's punishment.
What's punishment?
There is no punishment. Punishment is not enforced.
I agree with you.
And this isn't to pick on any individual person, but as soon as you deface a property, it's very hard to get it back.
Where's that wrought iron, right? Where's the wrought iron now?
Well, that wasn't wrought iron, that was.
I'm just saying in this case.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You have-
No, that's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
The problem is, we're all human, and nobody wants to find somebody, nobody wants to tell somebody that, hey, all that money you put into it has to come off, and it's gonna cost you twice as much to redo it, put it back to the original. But I think at some point, we have to put a foot down and say, enough's enough. And one person pays, another person pays, it will change it, people will be coming to our, for.
In that vein, I don't know what exactly happens with the permits here, but in a lot of places, if you do work without the proper permits, whatever that is, whether it's a building permit or in this case a hard permit, it normally, in a lot of places, it will cost you twice as much to get that permit if you, is that how it's handled here? Yeah.
And that's what we did on this one, you pay double the permit fee. You get, it's a slap on the wrist, it's not a stiff fine, but you have to pay double the permit fee.
Maybe we have
My point is, and I'm not talking about this instance here.
Right.
Well, let's say they take the whole front porch off.
Yes, well, they did in another property. They took the whole front of the house off.
Exactly.
But we've already made them, that pole barn is a classic, you remember that, Leo. That, we made him take that down.
Very expensive.
Yes.
Right. And I think we need to accept the punishment and be willing to give it out. But I think we're kind of soft in that area. And then it leads to this.
I hate the term that we're being soft and not doing anything. Those are
I
not
didn't say
good
we're not doing
statements.
anything.
But I kind of get the sense it's like, well, we're not doing anything. We are. The people who took the front porch off got a notice of violation and they have to comply. So it's not like staff just ignoring it and pretending it doesn't happen. We were punishing them in the full limit of what the code allows us to do. Right now, if you violate the HARB, you pay double the application fee, which isn't a big fine. But that's what the code allows us to do, which is why we have the HARB ordinance on there.
We can also force people to correct what they changed.
You guys can, yes.
Our ordinance says that they automatically have to. If they're in violation.
Yeah.
If we deny the certificate of appropriateness, then it has to go back to the way it was.
Right.
And I think until you start
Or
doing
do
that.
something that HARB approves and you all.
Right.
Right.
But this one, HARB did approve. They said it was fine to move forward.
So by a 3-2 vote,
3-2 vote, which is still approval, that it was accepted by HARB and recommended for approval to council.
So a 3-2 vote suggests to me that the guidelines are not clear, right? This is a kind of a toss-up that can be kind of like the incident that you referenced earlier. It was ambiguous, it was a matter of judgment. Here we have two terms that are used in this document to try to define whether or not this is appropriate. The first one is contributing or non-contributing. There's no real clear definition of what that means. That's open to interpretation.
It's open to the analysis of a historic preservation specialist. When they do the historic survey, they deem a building as contributing or non-contributing. That's documented information from professionals in a
And is that
manual.
documented on that property?
Yeah.
Okay, but how about this term here?
And it is non-contributing.
It's a non-contributing structure
I
because
saw
it's
that.
been altered beyond its historic character. Yeah.
Condition of integrity or significance, where was the other one? Oh, period of significance. What is a period? Is that also in that document?
So in the historic preservation survey that was last conducted by the borough, and I think it was done in 1980, that, and it was a survey of every property in the historic district. In that booklet, and it's like this big, it identified the architectural and historic components of the property, and then also at the end of the page, set up as a column format, it had a column for the condition of the property, and the surveyor could have selected, I want to say there were 7, from excellent to poor and in between. And then there were 3 categories that went in the next column under significance. I cannot remember what those were, but it talked about whether or not, it basically pointed towards how contributing is this property to the historic district. What's difficult for us in this particular instance, for 144 Locust Street, that information was not provided in that
Right.
1981 survey.
Right, so that's why I bring that up.
Right.
It leaves this whole question open to interpretation or feelings or a lot of other contributing factors that make this a lopsided vote. I think if the details and the structure was solid and documented, this should be an all and nothing vote. Because you got, if the things are detailed, like there's period of significance and contributing and non-contributing, if those are clearly defined, shouldn't be open to interpretation. That's my opinion.
I disagree with that. I think there is interpretation, it is there, and that's why you have a board. If it's zero interpretation, you wouldn't need to go to board. One person could make that clearly by going down a spreadsheet. I think when you're dealing with an appearance board, which is what HARB is, you're affecting the appearance, the outside, the facade of the building. There's always room for interpretation, which is why people look at it differently. And of those 5 people, 2 said no, and I don't know the full reasons why they said no. 3 said yes. They think it's fine to go forward. I think on a lot of decisions, there's still room for interpretation as to how a certain section of a code is applied.
I do believe, like I said earlier, I believe if the work hadn't been done and went to HARB
First.
and they were asked,
It'd be denied.
it would have been denied. But we're all human, and as Eric, I think you said, we don't want to pick on our neighbors, or find our neighbors, whatever have you. So several people said, it's already done, I'm not gonna have it there.
Yeah, I mean, appearance-wise, whether it looks period or not, it looks okay. You know what I mean? And I think some of them took the judgment of, it's done, it looks okay, let's move on.
Not only that, I think that it probably played into the damage was done to the historic nature of the building back when the original facade was covered. The
Permastone.
Yeah.
Permastone.
Right. So, I mean, again, I think it's education, maybe education on the harbor board part as well. I think we need to be a little stiffer in our punishments. But they went through, even though they kind of backdoored it, they came through the whole process and it was approved 3-2, so as far as I'm concerned.
And the applicants are here if you'd like to ask them questions.
Well, if you have a significant home that significantly contributes, and next door you have one that doesn't, I feel like we're running the risk of, the more we allow, we're going to lower the property values of the homes that are significant. And I don't think that's a good thing to do to the people who have to live in the district. I mean, we have people come in that renovate the homes, they sell them at a profit, and they leave. They're not living here with us in our home, in our community, in the district. And it seems a bit unfair to the people left behind who have to comply. Because I'm sure if I did work and I went ahead and did it, somebody'd be wanting to know why I was moving ahead without the permit. But just leave. And when you said the slap on the wrist for the fine being low, I don't know, can we raise that?
Yeah, and that's why I really want to dig into the HARB ordinance and get it done. And as another note, this is why we've pushed to get the HARB district resurveyed. I think it's mission critical for us to get that done so that we have updated good data that we can point to and look at, and when these buildings come before HARB, we have a fresh, updated set of criteria and evaluation of that structure that we can go off of. I think that's important for us right now.
Are there any other questions, comments, concerns? Yes. Oh, hold on, Frank.
I was wondering if the homeowners had anything they would like to add to.
Yes, she would. Yes, she would.
Hi, I'm Laura.
Thank you.
I don't think so.
Thank you. How do you want?
I'll share it here.
All right.
Mark Langatoni, I'm the sole proprietor of Great Town Properties. Oh, I'm sorry, I think you're showing your picture.
Oh, no, so I said it's cute.
So as far as the property goes, to start with, I had started the.
You stand up to the mic so people.
Yes.
Thank you.
I
We're
started-
recording this for
Okay.
people here.
Sure, I had started the permitting process with the person that was originally here with zoning.
Sharon, yeah.
Sharon. I started with zoning, or with Sharon. I had 2 separate meetings with Sharon. Number 1 started with getting a dumpster permit. You guys are one of the very few places you have a daily permit fee for the dumpster, 7-day permit. So with a full renovation, we talked about, going out further with that. I put in for the window permitting and then for a full renovation permitting. At no time in either of these in-person conversations or the permitting process was anything ever brought to my attention about the front porch being needed to be permitted. So it wasn't like I was skirting the system or anything. I paid thousands in permitting fees. I have 3 different permits that went through, and then all of a sudden Sharon was gone. And then I was told about the carport, we couldn't meet, there wasn't a quorum, so I waited months to get to this point in time. So I did pass with the HARP meeting as far as pushing it through. There's talk of the historical integrity of the building. I spent hours over at the Historical Society looking at as far back photos as I could find on the property. There's no railing, there's no anything on that front porch. And as far as what had been removed was not wrought iron. It was aluminum coated, rusted out Home Depot product. So as far as, someone mentioning as far as coming in and renovating the property and leaving and doing harm to the property values, I can assure you that there's no property on this block or blocks around it that will be a finished product near this. 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths, a half bath, 2 fireplaces, brand new kitchen, top of the line appliances, lighting fixtures, everything. So as far as the front page of the document that I provided to all of you, you'll see my property on the left, which is 144, and the property next to me. On page 2, you'll see a picture of my property, the property next to me, and then the new condos that were built. The third is a close-up of the railing in question, which is metal. It's a metal product coated with weather protectant and wood. The fourth is the metal roof that I'm looking to put on. The back of the property, that fourth already has an existing metal roof. Some of the additional pictures that you'll see, and this is why I was really just surprised by the fact that I even needed to have permitting for the railing that's in question. So if you look up the street, number 5, that's the porch that I see from my porch. Page 6, you'll see a mixture of, right across the street, an aluminum type railing. Beyond that, up the street, is a wooden railing. Number 7, you've got an abandoned dive bar across from me with broken out windows. Page 8, up the street, you have broken out windows and boarded up windows. Page 9 is the bank building at the corner, which once was a glorious building because I saw all the original pictures when I went and spent the afternoon at the Historical Society. Broken windows, boarded up windows, and newspaper in the windows. Number 10 would be graffiti from the building at the corner of my block, along with the boarded up window. Number 11 shows the quality of some of the work that I've done in the past. The before and after on 350 East Chestnut Street in Lancaster City. Page 12 is it before, page 13 is after, for property that I did in Marietta, the Poppy House, which is between Shanks and McCleary's, the short-term rental. I did an open house when I finished the full renovation on that. I purchased it as a 2-unit that had been distressed with Section 8 low-income folks in there. It now rents out at $400 a month, or I'm sorry, a night. And I'm now on the candlelight tour this weekend. The mayor asked me to do that. All of the business owners, all of the restaurant owners, the cafe owners came to my open house, and they were very excited about this renovation that I did. So,
Could I ask a question quick?
Sure.
Because I don't want to forget this. Since you mentioned this, I have to ask. Is this becoming a short-term rental?
no, because you guys won't allow it.
Okay.
If you guys would allow it, I don't understand, and I guess everybody has their own pros and cons with this. Marietta is so open-minded. They love it and they understand that when you have short-term rentals, it's a vacation rental for folks. Folks come there for a wedding, they have expendable income, they spend their money at the shops, the restaurants, the cafes, the bars. So, yeah. If this were to be a short-term rental, I would have kept it. But because Columbia is not unlike Marietta, most of, I own 5 short-term rentals. There's never been any issues with it. I think people are just afraid of the unknown. But my short-term rentals are exceptional properties with exceptional guests. And it just, certain areas, I think just don't see the benefit, the huge benefit. I mean, you guys have a wedding venue down here. Nowhere to stay. You guys are allowing a hotel on my block, but you won't let me be a short-term rental. So, these are things that I just don't understand. I'm just looking to get this renovation through, and hopefully you guys will approve my $4,000 metal roof to look awesome and run right on.
I want to thank you for including some other pictures from your block, because as I was reviewing this, that was one of the things that I thought about, is we're fighting over making this look more visually appealing when across the street there is a gross dive bar. There's buildings on the same side of the street that 3 of them have plywood doors that aren't even, I don't think you can really consider them doors because there's no knob or anything. And then you have the ones across the street that have the broken windows and everything else. And so that was a lot of, so thank you for including those, because that was a lot of the thoughts I had as I was considering this.
Yeah, you gotta remember, the one with the wood railings, that all happened prior to Park.
Right.
That all happened prior to that stuff. When there's any work going to be done on any of those properties, they will be brought to the standard that is expected in his district.
Right.
So while they may look like hell right now, eventually they should return back to where they're supposed to be.
Right.
And it's a shame that it's not happening faster. And let me say, to your benefit, what you did is pretty, and you did enhance the neighborhood. Okay, I give you that. Rule.
Well, as far as that, I mean, in my mind, I'm sure you're familiar with the broken windows theory.
Absolutely.
So I know people have different views on that, different things, but when there's broken windows across from me, directly across from me, I don't understand, I guess.
That's going to lower property values more than.
I just shake my head. Like, I can literally stand at my front porch and see 2 different buildings with broken windows. That's not like that is killing everybody's property values. That has nothing to do with railing. That's broken windows are beyond a railing situation. It just, it goes to the community and, you know, people taking pride in their places. I mean, I would be having a fit if I lived there, and I've already had a fit. I don't have broken windows on my block. Nobody should have broken windows on their block, even if they're all renters. I don't care. Okay.
Well, may I ask them why you chose to purchase there if you didn't like the looks of the block?
I think that I can do a positive thing and bring value to that property. It was an abandoned property. Someone committed suicide there a year and a half ago, and it sat. Water leak came in. There was significant structural damage. The ceiling was falling in the kitchen. It just sat. I felt that I could come in and love on that property and make her beautiful.
Can I ask you a question? Were you aware of HARB requirements
No. Except the windows.
at any given point?
Well, I had those 2 meetings with Sharon, but as far as the exterior, nothing other than windows came up in the conversation.
Okay. That's my point about education. You hold people accountable for stuff that they're not even aware of. Not trying to excuse it by any means. I just say, like Sharon said, we need to do a better job.
But this is being harsh. This may sound harsh, but if you have a business, it's imperative on you to understand what the rules and regs are within that community. If you are a homeowner in that community, it's imperative on you to know what the rules and regs are pertaining to your home.
I understand.
But I met twice in
I
person with
exactly.
zoning.
Right.
I paid thousands in zoning fees
Yeah.
already. I mean, you guys, just your dumpster, like the way you guys do roll-offs, I'm like, what?
So-
Like, it just, nobody
I
does
think
it
we
like
do
that.
that, we do it that way because there are many people that get a dumpster permit and leave them sit there for months, and then until we have the neighbors complaining and everything, so we do that to encourage people to use them, move them.
I have a question for you. You said when you met with Sharon, you talked to her that you want to do the exterior work, the windows, the door, I forget what else you said. There were 3 things. And she talked to you about the permits for doing that, and you said she never mentioned to you about the porch. Did you ever mention to her that you were going to put a new porch on?
Yes,
Okay.
it's not the porch, it's the railing.
The
that was-
railing, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But then it was all that same time that she left, and like, I was kind of stuck.
I think from my perspective, we can look and say, okay, would have HARB approved this or not had it been applied for beforehand, but I can't, it's not my place to go and imagine that.
Right.
And so from my perspective, all I have to work with is HARB's decision on it currently. And there's a reason why we have them as a professional advisory board to this table here, so that it's not just based on our feelings, not just based on what we think should be done. And given the information that I received tonight, I'm inclined to approve this still just because of the improvements that have taken place. If it had been genuine wrought iron that was removed, I would be more inclined to question HARB's approval of it. But falling apart, bent aluminum, nah, this is a much improved facade.
Well, iron was in the documentation, that's why I brought fire iron.
Sure.
That was documented.
Yeah. Faux rock. Faux raw iron.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I disagree that the HARB ordinances, or what is it called? Reviewing the HARB, I think that is very important to do. I think up until that's done, I would go to approve this.
you know, I think the work that's been done, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely an improvement. No doubt about that. It's professional, it's beautiful.
I think anybody's question that.
Right? And you know, being on the Appeals Review Committee, when folks do appeal their NOVs, their violations, we've seen folks that have perhaps, how do I say it to be delicate and not offensive or anything, maybe work the system in order to try to get an appeal through. Then there's other people who have obviously tried to do everything they can in order to comply with the violation, to go through all of the hoops and navigate the system in order to do the right thing, and kind of wind up on the wrong side of the coin at the end of the day, or in a precarious situation. And what does the board do? We work with them because they want to work with us. And I think that as a whole, this board, as on the Codes Appeal Committee, it's not our desire or goal or position to punish people in the borough, to spank people and slap them on the wrist and make sure that they're toeing the line, but to work with people who want to work with us for the betterment of the whole. And I think it's pretty obvious that you've had your conversations with the zoning manager, the person you should have had them with. You're obviously a professional, you know what you're doing, you've brought up good points, and you've got kind of caught in the middle of a pickle that may or may not have, more than likely has not been a cause of your own actions. I'm with Peter. I'm inclined to trust the board on this one. You know, I think it's absolutely true that we need to address education, number one, and number two, you know, this doesn't do anything. We haven't talked about anything that stops the weekend warrior do-it-yourselfers. Once it's done and it's over, what do you do? Yeah, and I'm inclined to trust the board on this one, 3-2.
One final question. If you have a railing with balusters, there is a requirement, I believe it's 2 inches between balusters. I've never run into what's the requirement for
The grid,
of
yeah.
a fence.
I don't know, it's a good question.
I mean, the only reason I'm saying that is this is something I've never seen before, as far as if it would be balusters, it's cut and dry. There's a certain distance balusters have to be far.
Would be 4 inches.
Is it 4 inches? It was 4 or 2.
And I'm within.
Yeah, and the reason for that is so that.
It's a safety
so that they don't
thing.
get their head stuck in it.
Right.
Yeah, where's their child's going to stick anything through
What
that?
are those, you know what the squares are?
No, I don't. Nothing would ever fit through them.
But I never, and I'm not trying to sideline the project, but I never saw this before, so I knew what the baluster, there was a regular baluster, but I never heard about anything that was other than a baluster, as far as safety. This is a safety issue.
Well, I would like to add one more thing, too. The original agenda for the October meeting, I don't know who did that. Maybe Sharon Sino did that one, I don't know. But the original agenda referred to it as hog wire. It was changed to wire mesh later. The term was softened.
I've read hog wire in here.
Did you in this one?
Hog wire is in this document.
It's on
still in
the
there.
application.
Yeah.
And there was nothing intentional to hide anything on that, Sharon. I think it was just a changing.
Oh, I know it was changed. It was
I didn't say it wasn't changed. I'm saying there was no intention to be backhanded or sneaky or hide anything. It was just.
No, I'm just trying to point out that.
You said it softened it. I don't think the intention was to soften it. I think it was just to describe the type of fence. And the hog wire is still in the backup material.
I also changed the terminology I used for the metal roof, because once I was here and I heard the testimony, the professionals said it's a standing seam metal roof. So when I did your packets, I updated the terminology that was used based on the presentation that we had at that our meeting.
Well, wire mesh does sound better than hog wire, either way you look at it. Certainly sounds better.
All right.
This isn't your last time investing in the borough.
You guys are tough, I'm gonna say it.
Anyone else at the table, Joanne? No? All right, I think we had one comment from Frank yet.
I don't know, I think I'm gonna be wasting my time for what I heard. Let's take a couple of the issues. I'm a little bit like you, Heather, I forgot a lot of them because it was so much. And I also made the meeting, I was there with Sharon, and there were some other people from the block that was there. I was quite upset. But did I hear you say it doesn't matter if they paint? Is that what I heard? That's what I heard you say, Mark.
Yeah.
So, hold on. The church across the street can paint masonry.
No.
That's not what I said, Frank. I said painting doesn't require a building permit. So if somebody is, if we're talking about the discussion of they don't get their permits until they go through HARB, painting wouldn't require a building permit. That's what I was saying. Not that it doesn't matter if you paint. Painting doesn't require a permit.
Well, why did we stop them people over there?
I didn't say it wasn't right or wrong. You're misquoting what I said in the earlier statement, that's all. I think sometimes we have to stop people, sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not.
I think what Frank's getting to is, the church is original stone masonry. They stopped that painting. This is the fake
Yeah, this is not.
stone.
Oh, the Haitian church across the street,
But
yeah.
the Haitian church stone, if you look at that closely, you can't really say that that is not a form stone on the corner. But anyway, I'm not here to argue that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that happened, I forget what
That was in about 2018.
Yeah, I think before I was here.
18.
Yeah.
Is it original?
I see you mean now, Frank, okay.
So let's just,
Might be.
let's just clear that up. That was unpainted, and they painted, but they were stopped.
Right.
Yes.
So down here, they painted an unpainted building.
Now, the original brick building has a stone veneer put up over top of it. So the originalness of it is gone. And that's why they initially were allowed to paint. Because it's no longer the original facade.
And I was given permission.
Right.
You know, I asked a bunch of questions why the one manager was fired. And I didn't get an answer, but you pretty well answered it for me. I don't think she should have been hired to begin with. And none of you will say that.
We're not gonna talk about
I
that
know
right
you're
now,
not going to
Frank.
talk about that.
Well,
And
no,
I
we're
said-
not. We're not gonna talk about it.
I just told you my
And
theory.
that's fine, but we're here to talk about the HARB issue.
Yeah, I
So
know.
please keep your comments
I
to
heard pretty
that.
much of that, and I know where it's going, so I knew before I even get up here, why even waste my time? My other thing is, when they make these hard rules, zoning rules, I've heard them say you don't want to punish nobody. How are you going to make these people understand? If you're going to make rules, why? Why are you making them? Just forget the rules. And there's another question. Who sets the punishment? Does the HARB or does this board?
The ordinance.
The ordinance.
The ordinance sets the punishment.
Your ordinance ain't going to speak up and say, hey, you're being fined, because it hasn't happened. It's never happened in the borough that I know of.
It's zoning and codes.
It happens all the time, Frank. We cite people all the time.
Right.
For these HARB.
Well, HARB, not to think back into the past,
Name one.
but HARB, this one, they got cited and had to pay double the permit fee for this.
They will
They will.
have to pay double
Yeah.
the permit fee because this permit actually hasn't been issued yet.
Right.
Because it hasn't gone to the
The
HARB.
double the fee is because they got the permits to work on the house, now they're getting a permit to work on that.
No, the
No.
double fee will be for the permit that is currently, right now, once council
Under
makes a
discussion.
decision, I will have what I need in order to either issue the permit or not issue the permit. If the permit gets issued, it's gonna be issued with double the permit fee because that is the current punishment for starting work in the borough without a permit.
How much would the double permit fee be?
I don't know, I don't have that information.
You come to these meetings,
The permit fees are based on the construction value, and we don't have that right here, so.
but you have to start clamping down on people. I just see a bunch of diehard people here tonight. Oh, these people made a mistake. My understanding, they did talk to somebody on the historical, I just forget what board it was. I thought it come out at the meeting, but I forget, so I don't have it. But do you remember that, Eric?
They went to the Historical Society and reviewed there.
Historical Society. Somebody here, I mean, if you're doing work in the downtown, people's going to stop and talk to you, and they're going to tell you, your neighbors are going to tell you what you're doing wrong, even though it's not their job. It's the officer who's supposed to do it, and it hasn't been done right, and it hasn't been done right for years.
Don't disagree, and that's why education's important.
Right. All right, any further questions, comments, or concerns? And we're still okay with the original motion, correct? You made it, so don't look at Todd. All right, so, okay, well, don't look at Barb, she didn't make the motion.
But she told me to go ahead and stay with it.
Okay, so I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, a second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the certificate of appropriateness for 144 Locust Street for the front porch roof and railing material changes as identified in the application. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
No.
Oh, and I forgot, I wanted to tell you, I think that red roof is gonna make it pop. I think it will like really make it pop. All right. I'm gonna sign that now, before I forget.
If you have it, do you want her to sign it now while she's here, get that form signed?
Oh, sure.
Laura, do you mind coming up and get that form signed now?
There, can you pass that over to Mark, please? I guess we're taking a 2-minute break here, because half the board just left.
Since we have a little bit of law, I would like to just reiterate what Todd was saying about how our role is not to punish people and slap them on our hands, and perhaps if we could use the word consequences instead of punishment, I think that would be better.
True. Yes.
Bless her hips.
Thanks. I don't know, did I miss a memo? Like,
Did you call for an adjournment?
no, I didn't. Everyone just got up and left.
We lost the quorum.
Yeah, we lost the quorum, so what the heck?
That was
Everyone
a rough session.
I know.
The defense called timeout there.
Timeout on the field.
While everybody's getting seated, Mark, I think you're correct. I think the ordinance needs to be looked at and tightened up. I think that's imperative.
It is.
Close the holes up, we don't get in trouble.
It
Yeah,
is.
we were just discussing that today. You read it, the literal language, and we have some hard board members too that are concerned about it because you read it literally, it leaves a lot of things open, so we have to tighten it up.
Yeah, like the ordinance tends to say just what you can't do, but it doesn't say what you can do. It says when something isn't needed, like a permit isn't needed, but it doesn't say when it is needed, and it's just really awkwardly.
There was a time that the harbor board was charged with coming up with a booklet
Yes.
that included a lot of pictures of the situations that you.
Design guidelines, yep.
And
Yep.
this is what's allowed, this is not what's allowed, those kind of things. And it never materialized. It may be time for that.
Well, we've been asking for a couple years now to have them on some of their meetings when they don't have anything happening, to meet and come up with some sort of literature that we can send as education, when that's needed, or that we can post here and,
I've talked to Jessica about that, and she's working with the board now to get some.
Planning, zoning, and hard, all of them should be doing that.
Yes.
When we don't have a meeting, you don't cancel, that's really time for a workshop.
That's right, that's right. 4 times it was canceled this year.
Yeah, I know. So, perhaps that's, I think that's where the liaison, the council liaison to those boards is important. That's what, that's why we assign those, hoping that the liaison will go and talk to the chairman of that board, chairperson of the board.
Which I did. I got her to have one guest speaker, and it's only because I even gave her the name of the guest speaker that I would recommend, did we get one. And then after that, it just stopped, so. Yes.
Yep. Right, so. Next one, it's a good thing we went to the bathroom before this one. Next item. Consider authorizing staff to advertise the proposed 2024 budget and make it available for public review.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to authorize staff to advertise the proposed 2024 budget and make it available for public review. We have the resolution in the packet, but that is not going to be done tonight. That would be, that'll be done when we approve the budget. So it was just in there for, I'm not quite sure why.
I just put it together, so it's all one packet.
Yeah, so
You guys
it's
can
all
see
one.
it now, you'll see it again.
So we're
when it's back.
not adopting the resolution tonight, but we are gonna advertise the budget. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? I mean, we've looked at these, we've looked at it for how many times now? Nothing's changed since the last time, with the exception of the amounts from, are finalized from the police, on the police side.
The police contract side.
The police based on the contract that is being finalized, is in the final things.
And the $8,000 for the fireworks. Is that it?
Yes, that is in there.
Last time, yep.
Tammy, when Frank asked about the reserves, you had said we hadn't taken from them, but I was going to ask you, is that because we had the ARPA money?
Well, actually, we didn't have the ARPA money the first year I was here. It came later, so we've just tried to stay in budget. So I feel like we've been.
We haven't taken money from reserves in 20, 21, or 22.
Okay.
And in fact,
Remember 20 we did at the end or not?
no,
Maybe
we
not.
didn't.
Okay.
No, 20 was pretty good. 20, if I remember right, it was about 400,000 we put in reserves.
It was, well, we didn't spend, we didn't do a lot of projects and everything, because of COVID, everything just shut down. There was a lot we didn't do, yeah.
Right. And 2021 was a good chunk as well. Last year was very close. Was very close, but no, we have not taken anything from reserves for 3 years. And the first 2 years, we put a good bit back into reserve. So. But part of that is, I just want to thank Tammy for her hard work and Mark, because we've been doing more realistic budgeting and getting it to where it needs to be, and they've worked very hard on this budget, all of them, but particularly this one to get everything working out, and it is what it is here. And
I wanted to ask a question of Mark. The last time when we were here, we went over the police the raises and things, you kind of like mentioned about the possibility of administrative getting more of a raise than 3%. I was wondering if you had more clarification as to what you were thinking.
Sure. In going through the police budget, and when we had the discussions about salaries and raises and increases, one of the comments that I made during that review was we're trying to bring the staff up to I don't want to say a standard, but to a level that's comparable to the municipalities around us.
And by this, we're talking management staff.
Yeah. So the Pennsylvania Boroughs Association does a salary survey every year, and they break it down by the region of the state that you're in, the size of your borough, etc. Then they have the low, the high, and the median of the different classifications of jobs. And many of the management staff here are below where the average for our size borough in South Central Pennsylvania sit. So I'm just looking for ways to, like we did for the police, bring us up to where our peers sit now. And it's hard with a budget like ours to do it all in one jump, so it's just kind of like trying to step up and catch us up slowly without a major impact any one year. We're trying to figure a way to do that for our management staff as well.
And how many administrators would that include?
Managers?
Managers, okay.
Hold on, you're asking me late on Tuesday to count. 6. 6 of us.
6.
I counted 2.
Thank you. Thanks for double checking my math.
You counted
I was
6
running out of toes, I'm like, oh.
I just noticed when I was looking at the budget and doing the percentage, the administration is 8% about approximately of the budget. And Public Works, the next closest one is 12%, which is Public Works. I don't know, I just found that. And then the police is like half the budget. Yeah. So I was just wondering if anyone else had any thoughts about maybe giving some serious thought to that.
I said it the last thing that I was in favor of that because I do think there are several of our managers that are underpaid for what we expect them to do, as well as to try and keep them competitive with keep us competitive with the comparable municipalities to our size and in our area, because I think that's important. When you have good people, you want to do right.
And Heather, it's not just, I want to be fair, it's not just to be comparable. We have managers here that work very hard.
Well, right, and that's why I said.
Put in more than 80 hours in 2 weeks in their time because they care about what they do and they want it done right and they want to see this town become what it can be. And I think you see staff showing up early and working late and they're not bragging about it. They're not complaining about the fact they put in extra hours. They're passionate and committed to what they do, and I want to honor them for what they're doing, the hard work they're doing.
Well, right, but the bottom line is, when you have people committed like that, you want them to stay committed to you and not go somewhere else because,
How do you see that easing that you talked about? Are you thinking like 4%, 5%? How do you see it easing?
Well, with the police department, we did go 5%. I think that's a great way to at least jumpstart that difference.
And do you see the rest of the staff wanting the same?
A
lot
of them are under the union contract, so their salaries are locked in.
Yeah, they're locked in. The union is locked in.
The non-union, non-management staff, which is only a couple, we are working on getting them promote it by getting them additional certifications, additional training, getting them more responsibility, and through the ability for them to work their way up, we're providing an opportunity for them to improve their position. And I agree with that. You work hard, you train yourself, you get certifications, you get paid for that. Management staff doesn't have that opportunity. They have a job and that's it.
So are you saying that 5% would apply to them as well then? Is that
Well, I think what we're going is that the management staff would get the 5% increase. If another non-management staff would get a certification, something the standard we give is a 5% increase for a certification, additional qualification.
Just like we give the union staff when they get, we pay out the degree bonuses and things like that.
So I don't want anybody to leave. But I believe you negotiate your pay when you're hired. You get your standard cost of living raises. And then the only other way you get raises is either through promotion, taking on more responsibility, or education. So, I use Paul for example. If you came back to me and said, hey, Paul has taken this class, and this class, and is now certified to do this, this, and this, to me that justifies it. To say that, hey, Joe Schmo down the street makes 4% more, that doesn't justify it. So, I think promotions I think raises are warranted, but I think we have to show it through justification, not just based on other municipalities.
Well, and I think our staff does justify. That's just my opinion.
Are we doing any evaluations?
No, we're not.
So, I don't know.
We talked about that before.
I know.
We talked about that before, and council's decision was no, because we're not doing it,
But
we can't
maybe-
do it for the union staff.
But maybe we need to look at that again, revisit that. If
You
we're
know,
gonna,
the thing was that, we pay Mark to tell us what the staff, who is deserving of the raise and who isn't, and so forth.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. To come back with us and tell us who's doing what. If stand there all day in my trouble. But if they're just doing their standard job, hasn't done over the last year, hasn't done anything to improve their abilities or taking on more responsibility.
We don't have a single manager that
I
hasn't
was just
gone
about to
above
say
and
that.
beyond what I ask them to do on a daily basis.
I know.
You might disagree with some of the stuff they do, but every manager puts in more time, more energy, and more effort.
I don't disagree with you. I just can't say yes without anything supporting it. I know that, like Chris at the Market House, they let us see him there. Weekends, day and night. Goes above and beyond, and I think he's done a wonderful job turning it around. He also agreed to his pay too. So, is he doing more? Yes. I know he's taking the Safe Serve and he's doing something with agriculture for alcohol and stuff like that. I mean, those things are our education. He's working to better his position. And that they warrant a raise, in my opinion. But I think that has to come in front of us, not just, hey, I want to get more.
So, a little bit ago, you made a good point, and you said you get your cost of living raises. So if this annual raise that we're giving him is meant to be a cost of living raise, the cost of living in the last year has increased by significantly more than 3%.
I was 7%.
Well,
So-
let's be realistic though. Let's be realistic.
No.
How many people got 7% raises this year?
No, so why are we calling it a cost of living increase then?
Because that's the term it's used. Because the general term of cost of living is 3%.
My employer doesn't use cost of living as,
Well, they-
they say they give me an annual increase.
3%.
Not really, no, but you can't say that because I have a performance review.
Exactly, that's two different things. There's a cost of living and then there's performance.
I don't agree or disagree with you. I feel differently about the idea of giving people raises. I think giving people an increase in pay just because they've qualified for a certificate or higher education, they learned a new skill, whatever that is, to quantify or qualify a raise based on that solely, I think is unfair. I think it's very fair to assume that as a person works in a position, whether they go for more schooling or learn another skill, will simply become more proficient in that job, in that role, that they understand it, that they know it, that they can be efficient, faster, better, stronger. Maybe it's head knowledge, maybe they understand the history. We talk about Jeff Helmhoff, right? Work performance or no work performance, that's not what I'm bringing up. What I'm bringing up is he knew a lot about Columbia. He knew what happened in the past. He knew everything. There's value to that. And I think that when you have that and a person being in a role and performing well, meeting expectations, it's fair to assume that they're just going to get better and more proficient. And I think that's worth being rewarded for in terms of a pay raise.
Well, and I will say, I also know that there are at least 3 of our managers that regularly do education and are not, but don't necessarily receive that paper certificate saying they did it, but they are participating in classes. Tammy has done several classes on municipal budgeting, finance, other kinds of things. She's participating in a consortium with other Lancaster County municipal finance lenders. Mark has he's within 3 classes of getting the certified borough official designation for his things. I know Jake takes classes with PSAB and other stuff.
LTAP classes.
Yeah, LTAP classes and all that. Even though he's not getting that certificate, they're still doing it. So they are doing the education.
I'm not saying they're not. I'm saying, when you want to give somebody a raise, you bring information for us to approve it. You don't just say, hey, is there a raise?
Well, and I think we have to also consider, we're not a private company here. We're paying salaries out of taxpayer dollars. I think we need to keep that in mind too. It's not like we're a private for-profit company that can afford to just hand money out. And
No, but
I think that
you gotta
people,
pay people for the work.
well, yeah, absolutely, I think they are well paid. And I think when they work for a government agency, they have to understand that it's not a private company. We may not be able to give bonuses and hand out money as freely as if we were making some kind of huge profit. That's all otherwise, I want people to be paid well, but I feel like our staff are paid well.
Tammy, have you had an opportunity to see how that would work in the budget if that were to happen?
No, when you guys said no, I didn't do anything with it.
Okay.
We can though, and
I mean, we
in
can,
talking to
yeah.
Evan, if you guys decide to make a change in the salary percentage, and we also authorized us to advertise the budget, what gets advertised is a notice saying our budget is ready, you can come into the borough and look at it. We will make those changes if approved, and then that is what is available for public inspection. So we still have time to do that, as long as it's done tonight, and then we advertise it correctly.
Correct, yeah.
So if 2 weeks from now, at the next meeting, we realize we missed something, we make change, we have to re-advertise the budget again. So tonight's kind of the last chance without having to advertise twice.
Right. And if we don't vote to advertise tonight, we are in a time crunch where we would not have time to approve it before the information is due to Lancaster County, which would result in us having to pay to have the tax bills reprinted and everything. So I'm just throwing that out there.
So as long as you guys make your decisions tonight and we would advertise what you've decided and we can get those changes done quickly, then that's fine. We're still okay.
Right, we're still okay. But I feel like we've hashed this out through several budget meetings.
I don't feel any different than we did last time we talked about it.
This specific topic? No, we didn't, not really. I understand what Eric's talking about as far as the evaluations. And, you know, I personally think there should be evaluations for the staff that we pay. You know, the non-union staff. I don't know who would give those, you know, who would do evaluations. I don't know, but I do think there should be some documentation in folders. But I would like us to maybe consider, I mean, how do we do this?
You can make a motion, do it that way.
Okay.
We do have this on table, this.
Right, but we can, if we get another motion, we can walk backwards.
So we have to have two separate votes tonight then? Is that correct? Vote to advertise and a vote for the salary?
I would want to see that.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, what you probably do is vote to advertise the budget with the change
Well, then
of,
you can do one motion.
you know, yeah, management salaries being increased by 5% instead of 3% or whatever number you chose.
So it would be
Because-
one motion.
It would be one.
it would be one motion because what we do is, excuse me, later on, when we approve the budget, I don't know if you remember this or not, when we approve the budget, there's actually three things that happen that night. There's the motion to approve the budget, there's the adopting the resolution for no tax change, and the third one is approving the individual management, well, non-union increases. And they're voted individually for each person. And that
Yes.
also not only includes management, but that includes our building inspector.
And that was a 3% last year, wasn't it?
Yes. Right.
Okay, I do remember that part, but.
Yes.
But then, so we vote for those later, but this is advertising the budget with this. So if I'm not sure what I want to do about the increase, can I still vote yes to advertise the budget because this is in there? That doesn't make sense to me because then later, would I have the opportunity to vote no if I wanted not to vote for the increase?
I would say yes.
I would say yes, because again, as always, the budget is a plan.
A policy.
Right? It is a, you know, you try to stick to it the best you can, but it is not a written in stone. And if you decide that, you know, for instance, someone is not worthy of that 5% budgeted increase and they should only get 3%, then you're okay to do that. You're not necessarily changing the budget, it's just a, you know, you're setting that salary.
Right, I mean, the budget line item will still show that 5%. It just won't get fully spent in that year.
Exactly, correct.
Do you know what meeting that will happen at?
The 12th.
The 12th.
December 12th.
So I'm still here yet then? That's why
Yes,
I'm
it would
worried.
absolutely before the end of the year, it has to.
Okay.
And yes, it has to.
All right.
Yeah, because our numbers have to be to the county by the 15th
Okay.
to avoid incurring a bunch of extra costs.
I don't know, I just don't like the motion where it says that we're advertising.
Well,
But
if we don't unanimously vote to advertise the budget with the management staff increase at 5%, then we vote again for just authorizing the staff to advertise.
It doesn't have to be unanimous. If 4 of you vote to advertise the budget with that larger increase, then that's, you know. But if less than 4 of you do, then
Then we can vote to. Okay.
advertise it with just what was in the budget previously.
And it's only 5 total, right? It's not the 3 that you just got and then another 5 on top of that.
No, or
Yeah, I don't think anyone.
whatever
I don't think
number,
anyone-
no.
Yeah.
No, it's not stacking, we're not stacking.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
just
So you're
No,
saying,
no, that's a good question, and no, we're not stacking, we're just. No, it's not gonna be 8.
so you're saying we could vote yes to advertise the budget with a 5% increase, and then later on vote no for the 5% increase, but keep it at 3% COL?
Yes.
That's what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
To vote to advertise the budget with including 5% increase, you're just saying the number in a line item.
Right.
Whether you spend that line item or not.
Right.
It's up to you later on.
So to vote it in tonight, to approve the budget, advertise the budget with it in tonight is kind of a safeguard in case folks do want to, maybe they don't tonight, but maybe they want to change it.
It doesn't guarantee a 5%
Right.
increase.
Right.
Correct.
That's the easy way to say it.
Yeah.
Good call, yes.
But at least it's advertised.
It's
with
advertised.
that possibility, and it keeps the budget process, approval process moving forward.
Correct.
So we get it approved on time.
Yes.
But if we're not technically, if we are not in favor of that and we vote it through, then we'll for sure have to make a motion and vote to disappoint those staff who were expecting that maybe they'll get a 5% raise.
Yes.
I don't know.
This is nothing personal. I think if we could, I think we should give as much as we can to match the cost of living increases. However, as long as we are budgeting to take money out of our reserves, I think we have to keep our budget as lean as possible. And unfortunately, one of the things that's required is, just like I agree with what you were saying, Eric, it's kind of the game. When you sign up, you agree to your salary, you agree to working for a local government. Hopefully, you're in it for more than the money. And it's not that I don't want money, like I want us to be paying our staff well. But we have to take certain priorities and stop somewhere. That's all I just think that's why we're here, is to make sure we don't go out of control in our budget. And it's tiny little steps. I mean, we can look at the big budget and say, oh wow, half of it's used for police. Can we cut that down so we have more money for roads? No, sorry. It doesn't work that way. Like, it's small little chunks add up to the big whole that we're dealing with. So unfortunately, that's just where I land. But
Do we know how much that extra 2% will cost? No. Can we vote yes to advertise with 5%, and when we vote on the raise, can you tell us how much that 2% does affect the budget, and if it does affect the reserve?
Yeah, we can do that, absolutely.
Well, I think it sounds like, it's going to pass to advertise. So I might have to just say no, just in case. I mean, it's not going to affect the outcome, so. Okay. Go ahead.
So Heather, if you put it into words.
we already have a motion to advertise the current budget
Right,
without
but we
any increase.
we can make another motion, a vote on that motion, and then if that one passes, the other one becomes null and void, right?
Correct. I mean, if we want to back out of our current motion.
We can just vote on it and vote no.
I'm not saying I want to back out of it. My intention is not to.
No.
You can. Okay, my personal opinion is, I don't want to yank everyone's chain by saying I'm proposing a 5% raise when I'm going to vote for a 3% raise.
No, I'm with you on that.
Why would they yank their chain that way?
Well, right, that's me too. I mean, that's me too. If
I'm
we're
not-
gonna advertise it with 5,
I'm not saying I'm withdrawing my second on the current motion to redo it.
I'll say it again, over.
I'm not proposing to withdraw the second I have on the motion that's on the table.
To advertise
To
as
advertise for
5%.
5% so that I can vote no when it comes down to it.
Got it.
I'm not proposing that.
Right.
The motion is on the table currently, and I'm proposing that we vote on it as it stands.
Can you read it again?
the motion is to authorize staff to advertise the proposed 2024 budget and make it available for public review.
Okay.
And that is as it is in your packet.
With a 3% increase for management.
Yes.
Cost of living.
Barb, did you want to make a different motion?
Well, I think they want to vote on this one first, right? Isn't that what you're saying?
We'd like to, but you have the opportunity to change your,
Oh, okay.
Does she?
Yeah,
If
she- I
there's a
mean, she
motion
can-
on the table, can she withdraw our motion?
No, not withdraw it. She just makes a new motion.
A new motion
that
on
we
top of
can-
it.
that- On top of it, and if we,
Understood.
If you vote
yeah.
yes, then great, if not,
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I would like to add to that proposed 2024 budget a 5% increase to management staff. Good?
Doesn't, don't they have to vote on the motion on the table?
That's what I thought.
No.
you can do exactly what Heather has said.
So I have another motion to authorize staff to advertise a proposed 2024 budget with a change to a 5% increase for management staff and to make that available to the public for review. Do I have a second to that?
I'll second that.
All right. I have a motion by Councilperson Fisher, second by Councilperson Price, to authorize staff to advertise the proposed 2024 budget with the change to management raises at 5% and make that available to the public for review. All in favor?
Hold on.
Yes.
You didn't give no discussion on this, not to the public. I had my hand up for the very first.
I didn't see that, I'm sorry. Yes, Frank, would you like to?
I do understand there's no tax increase
Correct,
at this point.
correct.
Now.
If it gets advertised, it's not going to change.
Okay. But it will be changed.
Not the tax increase, no. There's no tax increase, and that won't change.
So how much are you adding, by putting the raises on, how much are you adding?
not 40,000.
What's that?
No, about 16. About 16,000.
No, it won't even be
won't be that
that.
much.
It won't even be that much.
It's another 2%.
Yeah, that's true. I was
It's just a
saying
2, it's just a 2%.
I was saying 5%, yeah.
Yeah.
We're already getting 3, just add another 2.
About 8 to 10, somewhere.
So,
It might be,
so who would
less
this,
than $10,000.
who would this 5% go to?
It would go to the
The
managers,
6 managers.
the 6 managers.
Who?
The police chief?
No, his is
Oh,
contract.
his is contracting.
Mark,
Tammy,
Tammy, Paula,
Jake, Paula,
Jake,
Chris,
Chris, and Wilson.
and Wilson.
Oh, you people are about it. I have the feeling I'm down at the border with all the illegals coming across.
All right, Frank.
That's the way I feel like, that's my statement.
Okay.
But, wow, I thought I'd seen it all.
All right. Any further questions, comments, or concerns on the motion? I have a motion by Councilperson Fisher, second by Councilperson Price, to authorize staff to advertise the proposed 2024 budget with a change to a 5% raise for management staff and make it available to the public for review. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
No.
All right, now we revert back to the original motion.
So that was,
Yeah, she needs to vote.
Yeah.
that was 3-4.
Yeah, 3-4.
Who was yes and who was no?
Do you want to do a roll call? Is that easier?
Sure.
That'd be great.
All right, roll call it.
Councilperson Kaufman.
no,
Councilperson Stahl.
No.
Councilperson Fisher.
Yes.
Councilperson Price.
Yes.
Councilperson Littner,
No.
Councilperson Burghardt,
No.
Council President Zink.
Yes. All right, so now we're back to our original motion, Lori, which is a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to authorize staff to advertise the proposed budget, 2024 budget, and make it available to the public for review. This is as is in your packet.
So that does not include the 5%?
No,
Okay.
but that is a 3% management raise.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That was unanimous.
Thank you.
Heather, just want to make sure, you want that advertised for your December 12th meeting?
For the
correct?
December 12th meeting,
Okay,
yes.
Very good. Thanks.
All right. Then we're good with the county and we're good with everything. All right. Next, could I have a motion to approve the proposal from Rue Environmental for $13,522.50 for Phase 1B archaeological study for the McGinnis Innovation Park and Recreation Area?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the proposal for Rue Environmental for Phase 1B archaeological study for the McGinnis Innovation Park and Recreation Area. Questions, comments, concerns? Yes.
Question, is this a required study for our funding?
Yes.
This is a required
For the
study
permits.
for DEP
Okay.
to, and actually the State Historic Preservation Office who has to give a sign off on this. We did the initial study and they identified additional areas that needed to be further investigated. This is the work to further investigate those remaining areas, which is outside of the, I'll say the runway portion of the airport project. That includes down South 9th Street and down near the quarry. They're gonna have to take equipment in there and just do additional testing in that area.
And this is where they look for, like Native American and stuff
Any
like that.
archaeological finds or
Archaeological stuff.
evidence,
It's not environmental, it's.
Sure.
Right.
So, any other questions, comments, concerns? No? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the proposal from Rue Environmental for $13,522.50 for Phase 1B archaeology study for the McGinnis Innovation Park and Recreation Area. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to approve the proposal from TCW GAV for $21,000 to upgrade the AV system in the council chambers?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the proposal from TCW GAV for upgrading the AV system in the council chambers. Questions, comments, concerns?
Last time when we had this on the agenda, Sharon, you wanted to see both proposals, so they're in there now.
Yep. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right. I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the proposal from TCW GAV for $21,000 to upgrade the AV system in council chambers. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to authorize the bill payments? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to authorize the bill payments. Questions, comments, concerns on that? I didn't think there was anything that stood out to me. Anyone? See no comments. I have a motion by Councilperson Price, second by Councilperson Stahl, to authorize the bill payments. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, we have some special event applications. First is from the movers and shakers to place luminaries on the sidewalks in the 2, 3, and 400 block of Locust Street. from 5 PM on Thursday, December 12th until 7 AM on Friday, December 22nd. Because that's what it is here. It says 12th in my agenda. 21st. 21st?
That's what it says.
Sorry, it was on my agenda wrong. Oh, no, thank you, because as I read it, I'm
You're
thinking,
right, it is on the agenda.
wait a minute.
but Back in the
Yeah.
facility or whatever it is.
I was like, wait a minute, that sounds like an awful long time to have.
The same thing.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but that was how it was on my agenda. So.
Has this been done before?
Yes, this was done last year.
I don't recall.
Yeah, I think it's pretty, there is no cost to the borough, it's,
I'm just curious. What's liability for a trip or fall incident or something like that? I see there's no insurance required for this kind of thing.
We didn't require it last year. It's just those paper bags that are put along the curb line.
I'm just saying, what if somebody trips and falls and breaks their nose?
Yeah.
They have insurance? We do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have a motion in a second? No?
No, not yet,
Oh, I'm sorry.
because this is in the new business, so we don't motion it till after we talk, because we don't know if we're gonna take action. I mean, I don't have a problem taking action on this
I
tonight.
was gonna say,
Yeah,
on all three cases, we've got, I haven't got to take action tonight.
yeah,
You will what?
all right,
Take action.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Can I just ask a question?
Yep,
So they're coming for this event permit.
yes.
But why are we selling the stuff and advertising it before we get here? Because they did it at the Market House on Sunday. They had the sign, they're selling them.
I know.
But it hasn't been approved, so why are you doing that?
You can't control that. That's a decision they make.
Yeah, that's a
That's
decision
a
they
risk they
make.
take.
That's the risk
Yeah.
they take.
They have to refund the vote now.
Mhm.
Worst case scenario.
I think it's important, you didn't say this, Heather, I think it's important to note, as on the agenda, that the luminaries are battery operated.
Yes, that's on there.
I think that's important.
Oh, yeah,
People hear
I'm
that.
sorry, it's on the agenda like that, but yeah, they're battery operated, so it's not like we're gonna burn down like a street. Mrs. O'Leary's cow.
Wonder how many people got that reference.
I know, right?
I think in Chicago somewhere.
I know, right? Fire, fire, fire. So, are there any other questions, comments, or anything on the movers and shakers? Did anyone want to make the motion to approve the special event application from Columbia Movers and Shakers to place luminaries, the battery-operated candles and paper bags on the sidewalk in the 2, 3, and 400 block of Locust Street? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Burgard, to approve the special event application. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the special event application for the 2024 Thunder on the River Car Show on June 15th, 2024? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Burgard, to approve the special event application for the Thunder on the River Car Show on June 15th, 2024.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
these two applications, the car show and the parade, very well diagrammed, very well put together packets for us to approve.
Yes.
They obviously take time, they identified people who are going to be in certain positions and everything else. Very nicely done.
I'll say too, they on a regular basis now come in, they'll meet several times with staff, emergency staff and everything, go through every detail. Prior to the events, we have another meeting, we make sure everyone's in place, all the equipment's ready, we know where everything is, they're very well done.
The Lions Club is definitely one of the hidden jewels, not so hidden jewels of this community. I mean, I can't say enough.
This is pending insurance, right?
Yes, this is pending insurance. And I also would just like to note and publicly thank staff for making sure that the approximate cost to the borough is listed on the executive summaries for these, for the event, which was important for us to know, so we can show the constituents.
Transparency, that's good.
Yes, that we, are doing the in-kind services that are investing in the community. All right. Any further comments on this one? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Brigard, to approve the special event application for the 2024 Thunder on the River Car Show on June 15, 2024. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? And finally, do I have a motion to approve the special event application for the 2024 annual Mardi Gras Halloween Parade on Thursday, October 24th?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the special event application for the annual Mardi Gras Parade. And this one is contingent upon receipt of certificate of insurance.
I would like to say the 2023 parade was fantastic.
I know.
It was reminiscent of the olden days. It was a real community event. I mean, the streets were packed.
I think
There were people from out of town
Yes.
that we walked from our place on Chestnut and Ninth. They had to find parking up there. We walked down the alley with a family and hung out with them. It was an incredible event, well attended. Parade was long, was well received. It was really fantastic. It felt like being part of a community.
It was pretty fast.
It was really good.
How about it, Leo? It was moving. It was moving.
Yeah. It was fantastic. What a great event.
It was. All right. I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the special event application for the 2024 annual Mardi Gras Halloween Parade on Thursday, October 24th, from 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., contingent upon receipt of required certificate of insurance. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Next, staff reports, comments, announcements. Solicitor Gable.
I don't have anything additionally to add regarding anything here today. I did want to mention the Commonwealth Court recently decided a case regarding the amendments to the Sunshine Act that were enacted in 2021, I believe.
Yes.
And they have interpreted it that there's 4 categories for things that you can add to an agenda. The last of which, and at least as far as I know, everybody was treating that as a separate category. The last of which was anything that you add to the agenda via motion at the beginning of the meeting. The Commonwealth Court decided that actually is only modifying those first 3 things. So if something is not on the agenda before it is printed, it's not going to be able, at least for the time being, until maybe it goes up to the Supreme Court, it's not going to be able to be added to the agenda unless it's one of those first 3 categories of things.
And refresh my memory what they are.
Those are...
I know none of them can be.
I knew you were going to ask me that.
I know none of them
Yep.
can be money related because it can't be
Yes.
spending money.
Yep.
Contracts was one, right?
Yes.
Entering a contract.
Yeah, so it's emergency business, right? Something that's an absolute emergency, something that comes up within 24 hours prior to the meeting, where you have to publish that agenda 24 hours prior. If something comes up in that interim period that you didn't know anything about before, business arising during the meeting. So it's really just those 3 things that you'll be able to add to the agenda if somebody makes a comment and you say, oh, that's a really good point, we should change something, which doesn't happen very often here, to be honest with you. But it's limited that significantly for the
An example of that would be when they were here asking about the parts on Locust and then wanted to add in the parking.
Correct.
That would be acceptable.
Exactly,
Okay.
yep. And you would have to then make a motion to amend the agenda to include that item, is what this is saying at this point, so.
But you can't do it with things that'll cost money, like, you can't.
Unless it's an emergency.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, yeah,
All right.
yeah, just wanted to give you an update on that.
Thank you. I hadn't.
Yeah, it just literally just came out, yeah, so, and I'll be honest, I think if you ask me, I think that was probably the intent of the amendment, but it was so poorly drafted that I don't think that's what it actually says, but we'll go with what the Commonwealth Court says and we'll see if the Supreme Court takes up anything in the future.
But we still have to do the approval of the agenda before we.
Yes, you should still do that, yep.
All right. Secretary Treasurer, Mr. Stivers.
Thank you. Mayor mentioned the events this weekend, and I just want to add to that. Those of you who didn't get the Sunday LNP, in the local section on the front page, front and center, was a picture of the fire truck coming up Locust Street and the crowds of people all around it, and the caption was something to the effect of, Christmas in Columbia. And it was shocking to see Columbia get such a front and center, lots of pictures, advertising of what's going on. Within a few minutes of me actually sitting there reading it, my phone starts buzzing and I'm getting text messages from businesses downtown, just all excited about, this is great, this is what it looks like. Comments about the crowds of people that were downtown on Saturday between Hinkle's at noon when Santa arrived, throughout the day. A number of shopkeepers said it was probably one of the best days they've had in a very long time. A lot of people made comments about the fact that there were a lot of people from outside of Columbia downtown here to celebrate. And then the tree lighting was probably one of the most crowded we've had in a very long time. And I think this is, not to sound over dramatic, but this is the fruit of 20 years of us trying to turn this town around and see it become what it really is intended to be. Last week on Thursday, there was a ad that was put into the paper. There was a 4-page spread that was in prep of Small Business Saturday, and it was Come to Columbia. And it was 4 pages of ads from small businesses here of what they're doing, how they have, what they had, coupons, etc. to come in. Those two working together showed that people are paying attention, people are saying, and things are happening down here that are very things that we have wanted to happen for a very long time. And I think this weekend showed it. Sunday at the Market House was packed. It was busy. The Makers Market did well. It was exciting to see foot traffic and people here in town. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who worked hard to get us to this point, and everyone who's still working hard for us to keep going and do the things that we're doing, because it's working, it's showing, and we're seeing improvement. One of the things that Jake and I had talked about, I'm looking because Jake's not here, the shocking improvement the CDBG project did on South 2nd Street. If you look at the before and after pictures, it's like 2 different streets. It's shocking. And I walked down there the other day just to go look at it again, and there were kids riding scooters up and down the sidewalk. Well, 4 weeks ago, they couldn't do that. The sidewalk was so broken up and busted, you couldn't barely walk on it, let alone ride a scooter on it. And that's exciting to me, to see the slow but consistent change and improvement here. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of us that are working hard to make this community a good place to live, raise families, start a business, continue a business. This is what it's all about, and it's just exciting to see that fruit happen. Yeah, I get all hooked up with that. It's exciting for me. Secondly, at the workshop next week, we have a big task, and I wanted to prep you guys ahead of time. Phase 2 of the RACP money for the Market House has been earmarked from the very beginning for economic development downtown and parking improvements, etc. You guys have, back in 2021 and again in 22, looked at a list of potential projects and given us the okay to move forward with them. One of the big projects on that list was improvements to the River Park for Phase 1A, Part 1. With the pending construction of the 462 bridge and the potential impact to River Park, we feel like it's best not to make those improvements now until after we know what PennDOT's means and methods are, what their staging is, what the timing is, etc. Which means that project has to come off the RACP list, and we need to finalize the list. So you'll be getting a list of our proposed projects right now. We still have a gap in the funding source, and so next week I want to kind of talk through what are, based on the goals and what the grant was written for, let's talk about and think about what we can do, because we're in the awkward position of we have to spend all this money. We have to fulfill the grant obligations on this one. And I want to do it on something that's meaningful. So I want us to just think about it now, think about it, what projects we have that are not major multi-million-dollar projects, what small but impactful projects can we have. One of the things on our list is getting like branded bike racks for downtown. I think that'll be, make a strong statement of when trying to become a trail town, etc. Those kind of things. Putting welcome signs on the main gateways coming into town saying welcome to Columbia, and a big impressive sign that is in there that announces that, hey, we're someplace special and you just entered someplace special. We're looking at improving Sadie Lane out here and improving Market Street and the parking and the access in and out of the building around the Market House. That was always a part of it. So you'll get the list in your packets, look over that, think about other things that we want to do that would improve. It has to be focused in the downtown. It has to be a focus on like economic development, improving the downtown, improving things here, okay? So start thinking about that and we'll have that on the agenda for next time.
And just as a note, we have to get it nailed down sooner rather than later, because we cannot get the money for the Market House until we submit all of our stuff for the Phase 2.
What kind of money are we talking about that was part of the RACP for that project?
The total amount of all the projects together is about $1 million.
But you said the portion that goes to the River Park is being removed from the RACP.
That was about $700,000.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. So,
So there's some things on there. You'll see what's on the list that we have thought of already, some projects that we know that need to be done. But I wanted to throw it out to you guys and just kind of brainstorm of what can really help improve the downtown, this area, parking, directions, information, whatever. So you'll see it when we get the list.
and one of my suggestions was to fix the light at 4th and Locust so you don't have to sit for 20 minutes when you're going north-south.
So are you saying, Heather, that the reason we haven't gotten the RACP for the market is because we haven't submitted this part?
At this,
We submitted an original
But
amount.
now it's changing.
That's correct.
We got to update it because we can't submit it with the big chunk going to the River Park.
right.
Yep.
But that is
It's
the
been
last
submitted
item that we
long
think
time
it's the
ago.
last item that they're holding it up on.
Right.
Because we gave them a preliminary list and they wanted
We did it last
details. So,
And then once they came back to get details, once we started to work on the details,
then they want more details.
then we realized we had to pull off the mark. We had to pull off the mark.
All right. So just one last item, and if the chief was here, he probably would have mentioned this on his reporting. But there's been a rash of people going around late at night trying to open car doors and steal things out of cars. So I just want to remind everybody again, and we'll push something out on TextMyGov. Lock your car doors. Make sure they're locked. Don't create an opportunity for thieves to break in and steal stuff from you. Okay?
Don't leave items in the car.
So those of you who don't have it, you won't get that message. But if you sign up for TextMyGov, you'll get a message soon warning you about that. There, I got them all in.
All right.
Thank you.
Council members, Councilperson Stahl.
Thank you.
Councilperson Price.
Nothing, thank you.
Councilperson Leonard. Nothing.
Yes, I have some things.
Right. That's very decisive.
Yes.
I like that.
So we hear the term slumlord used, and you hear nicknames like the slum or the lum.
I hate that name.
Okay, so I did some research on this topic, and a definition of slumlord is a slang term for a landlord who attempts to maximize profit by minimizing spending on property maintenance, often deteriorating neighborhoods, and to tenants that they can intimidate. Severe housing shortages allow slumlords to charge higher rents, and when they can, get away with it to break rental laws. So I think we have to add a slumlord definition to our definitions in our codes. Secondly, under the definitions section, a property owner. I think we needed to add also, as a property owner is defined as a single entity by name or persons affiliated as an LLC or other business names. Further discussion down the road. Then I also think under 112-6E1D, which happens to be enforcement by codes around units, I think we ought to add a landlord who does not comply with 3 notices of violation within a rolling year, 12 continuous months from the date of the first violation, will be identified as a slumlord. Landlord. Okay? And then I have a penalty for that, what I think should be, and also to help codes just called up when they were, I think 2 years ago, they were at 335 past due or whatever.
Inspections, yeah.
Okay?
Post-COVID, yeah.
Right, but it wasn't just post-COVID. It was pre-COVID too, but it wasn't that high.
You're right, you're right.
Okay, so they're caught up. One tool I'd like to give them is addendum to 12-6C1F is part of the responsibility of sending out notice for inspections. I think we ought to change that to have rental property owner management team will be given a 24-hour notice for an inspection to be completed for standard annual and new tenant agreements. And then have a penalty underneath that where the fines would continue as a initial inspection fee for every time we miss. Unless it's code that can't do the inspection. But a lot of times it's, oh, the landlord doesn't get back to me in time, and that screws up their scheduling of inspections. I think we need to put that in there so it allows them to pre-plan their inspections and they can move forward.
Can we put this on the work session for December?
So this, I forwarded my notes, forwarded to Mark, and I asked Mark to share with everybody else up here. Just my ideas of where I think we should go to help combat some of the discussion. Some penalties are harsh, but like we said earlier today, on one hand, we need to look at landlords as businesses, and in other areas of business, we don't allow them to get away with stuff, so I think we need to treat them fairly the same way. That's all I have. I would talk about this past weekend, but both the mayor and the manager beat it to death. One comment I will say though is not only was the Merchants Association a big part of it, the Market House a big part of it, Shank Shop, but there was a lot of businesses in town that have donated financially and gift-wise for the community for this event. And they were recognized, but I just wanted that to be clear. It wasn't just merchants. It was other businesses throughout the town. So, thank you to everybody.
I'd like to say that if you haven't been around Mount Zion Cemetery lately, it looks really, really good. He has a lot of information, new information boards. It's been cleared out and it just looks really nice. So take a trip up and see what it looks like.
Chris has a Midas touch, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, hey, just like that. Hey, to your point, right? All the changes that the borough's made as far as dealing with absentee landlords and those kind of issues that we know are pretty abundant here, have been profound in the past. And to Mark's point earlier about the success that we've been experiencing as a borough. It just shows how the work that not just this council or this staff or this borough manager, but councils past over the decades. I remember moving here in the mid-90s, and there was talk about a bypass, 441 bypass. I remember that talk, right? I remember the beginning of the talk of a river park down here. I've been part of some pretty big decisions on my term and a half on council. Oftentimes met with resistance, skepticism, and I think that that's all really healthy. And I think that I just want to kind of like, maybe not reiterate, but emphasize that the vision of the folks in councils past, this council, the way we're moving forward, is really about creating a place where everybody can participate, right? Stabilization, stabilizing our tax base. And how do you do that? By generating income and money, providing opportunity for people to live, to work, to raise families, and participate productively. We talk about tax increases. Boy, I was on council for one of those. It wasn't an easy conversation or an easy decision. I paid it too. And kudos to staff. It was mentioned today. The borough manager and our accounting manager worked hard for the last few years to balance the budget so we don't have to go into the reserves or raise taxes. I'm just so proud of this borough and the work that council and staff have done over the years. A lot of hard decisions, maybe not all of them the best decisions. Some floppers, right? Maybe some not so good, some better than expected. But we are definitely on a trajectory that's good, that's positive, and I think we have a bright future. And it's encouraging to hear that there's a 4-page spread of ads for our downtown. From our merchants. That there's, I don't know, it's front page of the local section of the LNP. I remember coming to council and talking about write-ups in magazines. What the Lancaster Host, I remember, I forget all the Lancaster magazines that are popular, articles about Columbia and the Renaissance that it's experiencing. It's not about Columbia. I can't say it enough. It's not about Columbia being Columbia, a bigger, badder, better Columbia. It's about the people of Columbia. Have an opportunity, again, to participate, to live in a borough where we can feel good about not having another tax increase. All this stuff has a purpose behind it. And, text my gov.
Thank you. I have nothing else this evening. I know, right? Everyone said everything. The weekend, it was great, and, all that stuff. So, announcement of next meeting at 7 p.m. on December 5th. Council will hold a work session. Could I have a motion to adjourn? I have motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to adjourn at 9:19 p.m. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? We're adjourned.
Joe.
You still think it's 5%?
What is your last name?
Chestnut Street was 462, was 462.
I thought Preston was, that's where it was that.
I hate it, bye.
No, I can't do it.
My mind.